Hi, my name is Edward Livesay, and this is my final project on collaboration and implementation on the curriculum audit. This is our final project for school curriculum and improvement. EDG 6285. Let's dive into today's topic. So, my curriculum audit for this class was based on two main principles. The first was, and my first question, is what are the benefits of empowering teachers to become school leaders? What are the benefits of empowering teachers to become school leaders? And second is centered around professional development. Why is it important to create a school culture that values professional development? How does it benefit the classroom experience and students' ability to master standards when teachers constantly seek out best practices and instruction techniques to use within the classroom? And what does effective professional development look like when you're trying to make a positive impact on instruction and overall success for students in the classroom? These are all questions we answered in our curriculum audit. There are three different tools and/or measurements that can be used for a curriculum audit to make sure that it is efficient. The first one we're talking about today is going to be the chalk handout. Chalk, I like the first quote. As he describes doing a curriculum audit as seeking continual improvement through a cycle curriculum auditing process to ensure that there is a positive link between the assessments given and the results achieved. So there's always going to be that continuous motion to make sure, all right, what are we striving for? Then how are we going to make sure we get it? And then going for that next cycle again. There are 8 easy steps that Chalk describes how to do this. The first is just understanding the schools and district mission statements and goals. What are we trying to ultimately achieve here? Student success, students being prepared for the career world, the college. What is our goals? And then our audit will help towards those goals. 2, you're going to determine the area of focus for your curriculum audit. Curriculum, instruction, accommodation, social emotional skills, leadership. In this case, I chose professional development and empowering teachers. Next, you're going to analyze current practice. You're going to analyze the data. What is happening in that school? So quantitative data that you'll be analyzing is hard facts, graduation rates, FSA scores, EOC scores. While qualitative data is not numbers-based, but examples such as classroom observations and the atmosphere and culture within the teachers. After you analyze all your data, you need to prioritize your needs. What is you most need to focus on through this audit? Once you figure that out, you're going to communicate your findings to your staff or to your people. You're going to define improvement actions, like this is what we're going to be doing to fix this problem. I really like number 7. You're going to define metrics of success. What is going to be your criteria of mastery? How will you know that your action plan is going to be success, is going to drive that student data? Then you're going to implement and measure your new data through your curriculum audit that you achieved better. And that is the Chalk curriculum audit checklist. A next audit tool that could be used is the culturally responsive curriculum scorecard. This was created by the NYU Metro Center, whose mission statement is to promote equity and opportunity in education through engaged sciences research, program evaluation, policy analysis, and professional assistance to educational, governmental, and community agencies serving vulnerable communities and populations. The reason why they created this scorecard was to ensure that they have a tool to help parents, teachers, and the community determine what extent is their school's English language arts curriculum is or is not culturally responsive. What is culturally responsive education? Well, I feel like it was important to tell everybody so we're on the same page. It refers to the combination of teaching pedagogy, curriculum, theories, attitudes, practices, and instructional materials that center around cultures, identities, and contexts through the education systems. Ultimately, are you teaching something that your students can relate to, that they can see themselves out of? Are you teaching both the majority and the minority and everywhere in between that everybody can relate in the classroom? This culturally responsive curriculum scorecard is ultimately used in kindergarten through 8th grade through curriculum through English. And then in the scorecard, there's going to be 3 areas of study. One is going to be representation within the curriculum. And then there's subsections. This includes character and author tally, diversity of characters, and accurate portrayals. In that scorecard is also a subsection of social justice, decolonization, power and privileges, centering multitude perspectives, and connecting learning to real life action. The third is going to be teacher overall materials. This is going to be an overview of teacher materials, such as reviews, lessons, and overall unit structure. All part of the scorecard. Our last and final piece is the ASCD curriculum audit. The purpose of the ASCD curriculum audit is to assist developers, teachers, and instructional leaders and other staff members in Oxygen curriculum based on what needs to be effective curriculum looks like and making the changes necessary for improvement. So it's ultimately like a scale to see where you need to improve on your curriculum. So I like to think of the first one kind of like a how-to guide, and your second one is going to be with your culture, and this one is almost, in my opinion, like final assessment. What do we need to do now in order to move forward? There's 6 different subsections, just like the culture audit. In the ASCD, there's 6 sessions to assess your curriculum. 1, identification of census-driven standards. I'm not going to read these all to you, but there's going to be 6 different levels that will be assessing each of the for the curriculum audit. This is my applied method, so I actually applied this method to the curriculum study, and I actually completed, as you can see on the right-hand side, the curriculum audit. Applied curriculum audit assessment, this is what I did, and I based my answers on the same answers based on my interview with Ms. Cox with East Bay High School, teaching and instruction school-wide. She's then said after we completed this together that all areas of improvement will be considered a focal point for next year's professional development and getting teachers excited about using strategies to strengthen in these areas. So after I completed this study, the curriculum audit, as you can see here, this was the first page, that 1 through 5 scale. Not too many 5s, a lot of 4s in the first category. Let's go to the second page. As I completed each of the 6 subsections, some trends I noticed. My strongest area was in identification of consensus-driven standards at East Bay High School and through professional development. I feel like we're very good taking the standard and then making our lessons match the standard. Now, our weakest / needs improvement is from monitoring of student achievement using a range of assessment tools. In U.S. history, because the EOC is all multiple choice, we only give multiple choice tests, but like opening it up to using paragraphs or other things could be important. So as we completed this section and applied it to the curriculum and professional development, Ms. Cox will be using these tools to further engage in. How will I be sharing my data? Well, to stakeholders through a professional development calendar, which includes topics we cover in teacher trainings. Then compare the scores of the best practice skill taught from the September baseline to the spring end of the year assessment. Ultimately, what I'm going to do is take a calendar of all the things the teachers are learning to do, because parents will be like, wow, that's impressive that they're continuing these qualities to help my kid learn. Then also showing them data, showing them how it's increasing. To market this, I'll just be doing a simple PDF flyer, and we would post it on the school's website called Watch Us Grow. I thought that was cute. The parents want something simple, knowing that good things are happening at East Bay. Now, my colleagues are a little different because we're working with the data. It affects their day-to-day life. First, I'm going to use the same method because data motivates teachers. We would show that same professional development calendar that includes all the topics we covered and compare it to scores from last school year. Then use that and present all the information in the beginning of the school year in a big meeting with everybody. Then hopefully encourage teachers to continue best practice methods and seek professional development throughout the year, because that's what our data shows us. Last but not least is going to be our timeline for our curriculum audit. So I have East Bay Best Practices PD timeline. Only by improving ourselves, we can make our classrooms a better place to learn and grow. So in September 2022, we're going to introduce the PD cycle. We're going to introduce our new goals and visions to the school, introduce incentives, and first, faculty-wide PD on obtainable basic skill. Kind of that buy-in will be happening there. In October and November, we'll have 2 PDs. In the fall, we'll call this fall PDs. One in October, one in November. They're going to be building on from the skill from the first meeting and adding rigor and context. So continuing on that tradition, building on that skill, maybe improving a different way to do it in the classroom. So offering those PD sessions. December and January is going to be a good time. Analyze and reflection. Teachers analyze mid-year data with PLC and recognize strategies and skills that will help with their student data. Okay, now that we made it through halfway of the year, let's self-assess and see where we are now. February and March, where it gets interesting, and this is where the teacher empowerment comes in that I talked about earlier. The spring PD is also broken into 2 sessions, 1 PD in February, 1 in March. Not only are we introducing new strategy requested from the mid-year data, so data-backed instruction with professional development, but we're also going to be empowering teachers to facilitate and teach new strategies during the PDs via gallery walks. So in this giant professional development with all the teachers, they can go, there may be like 12 teachers in your staff of 120 that are teaching a new strategy or a skill, and the rest of that 120 is going to one of those 12 stations learning a new strategy. This increases teacher engagement, ownership, excitement, and building new skills. And that final piece of the timeline is the final assessment. We'll be hosting final boot camps for end of the year preparations with newly learned strategies. And also, we'll be just as the students go out before their test, getting best prepared for their final. They can do this as possible. Then once we get the data, we're going to analyze. First, we're going to give praises to the positive gains that we make. It's so important as a school leader that you recognize and you give credit where credit's due. But then after that, we're going to recognize our weak points and then put them on the list of things we're working on next year. That's our timeline for the next school year. And this is our curriculum audit and our 3 ways of evaluating it. This is Edward Livesay, and thank you for listening.